my Comms 101 speech on the problem of abortion in our society. The problem with abortion is that it is killing innocent children of God. However, many people don't consider it to be morally wrong. The solution I propose is to explain the problem of evil to those that don't understand, while acting in a way that is kind and loving to them. We've all made mistakes, and God can use His redemptive grace to turn these mistakes into good for Him. Since the beginning of this year alone, there have been over 7 million abortions worldwide, and by the end of this year, that number will be between 40 and 50 million. The Bible teaches us that children are a gift from God and that He considers abortion to be morally wrong. As Christians, we should therefore not only personally oppose abortion, but also be working to fight against it in our culture. I intend to validate this statement by discussing how the scientific community at large agrees that the fetus is human life, how if the unborn are human life, our laws should be protecting them, and finally, that the Bible teaches us that abortion is morally wrong, and as Christians we have a responsibility to stand against it. Let's take a closer look at this important subject. The scientific community agrees that the fetus is human life. Encyclopedia Brainiac describes human life as a material complex or individual characterized by the capacity to perform certain functional activities, including metabolism, reproduction, growth, and some form of responsiveness and adaptation. After conception, a human embryo is either able to do all these things or has the potential to do these things in the future. Langman's medical embryology states that development begins at fertilization, the process by which the male gamete, the sperm, and the female gamete, the oocyte, unite to give rise to the zygote. Even those in charge of abortion clinics agree that it's human life. Anne-Marie Furati, the chief executive of BPAS, the UK's largest independent abortion provider, said in a 2008 debate, "We can accept that the embryo is a living thing in the fact that it has a beating heart, that it has its own genetic system within. It is clearly human in the sense that it is not a gerbil, and we can recognize it as human life." This brings me to my second point. If the unborn are human life, it is legally wrong to kill them. The 14th Amendment reads in part that no state shall have the right to deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. As we have just stated, that the human embryo is life and therefore is against the law to take their life away. The Supreme Court's verdict on Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion, rested on the following two sentences. "We need not resolve the difficult question of when life began, when those trained in the respective disciplines of medicine, philosophy, and theology are unable to arrive at any consensus. The judiciary, at this point in the development of man's knowledge, is not in a position to speculate the answer." If the Supreme Court wasn't sure when human life began, they should have erred on the side of caution. The burden of proof lies with those taking the life, not those intending to protect it. Finally, the Federal Unborn Victims of Violence Act, which was enacted to protect unborn children from assault and murder, states that under federal law, if a person intentionally kills or attempts to kill the unborn child, that person shall be punished for intentionally killing a human being. This brings me to our third and final point. The Bible teaches us that abortion is morally wrong, and Christians especially have a responsibility to stand against it. Psalm 127 says that children are a gift from the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is a reward. Psalm 139:13-16 explains further that God knew us while we were still in our mother's womb. "For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Clearly, God knows and values the human life even while they are unborn. And in Exodus 21:22-25, we see that God considered the killing of the unborn child to be murder. If men who are fighting hit a pregnant woman and she gives birth prematurely, but there is no serious injury, the offender must be fined whatever the woman's husband demands and the court allows. But if there is serious injury, you are to take a life for a life. This brings me to my conclusion. We see that abortion is wrong from all viewpoints, and not only should we personally oppose it, but God expects us to fight against those that wish to continue this evil. We fight not only against the laws against abortion, but also the mindset in our society, which doesn't consider it a moral evil. The solution to this problem is to explain God's laws with kindness to those who don't understand, and to show them how it is not only scientifically wrong, but morally wrong. We all need to stand up for the unborn and not allow the shedding of innocent blood to continue, and allow God to use you to help end this evil practice in the world. I encourage you all to look around your life and see where you might make a difference, to speak about this subject whenever you can and not allow the society to silence you on this important issue. Thank you for listening.